Have you ever wondered how words spoken in anger or distraction can leave a lasting mark on a child's soul? The Stoics taught us to be mindful of the power of words and their consequences. Today, we'll explore 8 toxic phrases that parents sometimes say to their children and demonstrate how to replace them with words that nurture rather than wound. First, why can't you be like him? A child is not a comparison. They are not a replica of someone else, but a unique individual with their own qualities and potential. When you say, "Why can't you be like him?" you devalue this uniqueness. These words don't come across as supportive. They feel like a verdict. Instead of inspiring, they sow seeds of self-doubt. The Stoics teach us, do not compare what is inherently different. Each person has their own gifts, their own path. When you compare a child to someone else, you're effectively saying, you're not good enough as you are. Imagine a child struggles with math, and a parent says, "Look at your friend. They're the best in class. Why can't you be like them?" Such words don't motivate, they wound. Or consider a girl who isn't interested in sports, and her parent remarks, "Your sister excels in her sports club. Why don't you try harder?" This creates resentment. The child feels their individuality is dismissed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the nature of things and find joy in them." Your child doesn't need to be like someone else. They need to be themselves. Your role as a parent is not to compare, but to support. Focus on effort rather than outcomes. Say, "I see how hard you're trying, and that matters. How can I help you?" Encourage their strengths. If they struggle with math but excel at art, say, "You're doing amazing work with your drawings. I'm so proud of your creativity." Respect their journey. Guide them, but don't dictate their path. Comparison erodes confidence. It teaches a child to measure their worth by someone else's standards. Instead, build their inner strength. Remind them that they are worthy of love and acceptance just as they are. As the Stoics believed, support strengthens and love embraces. Second, you always mess everything up. These words sound like an accusation. They don't address a situation. They strike at the core of the child's identity. To a child, this doesn't feel like criticism of their actions. It feels like a declaration that they are the problem. The Stoics taught us to evaluate actions, not the person. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that mistakes are not flaws, but opportunities for learning. When you say, "You always mess everything up," you don't help the child understand how to fix the issue. Instead, you lead them to believe they're a failure. For instance, a child accidentally breaks a cup and hears, "You're always breaking things. You're such a problem." This doesn't teach responsibility. It only creates shame. Or when a child forgets to do their homework and the parent says, "You constantly ruin everything. Why are you so careless?" Such words don't make the child more attentive. They undermine their confidence. What do the Stoics say? Mistakes are inevitable. They are part of life's journey. Seneca taught, "The mistake is not in falling, it is in failing to rise again." When a child makes a mistake, your role is not to blame, but to show them how to make it right. Instead, say, "This could happen to anyone. How can we fix it together?" Shift the focus from the negative to finding a solution. If they break a cup, involve them in cleaning up the pieces. If they forget their homework, help them create a schedule to stay organized. Epictetus reminded us, "Do not judge, but guide." Teach your child to recognize their mistakes without tying those mistakes to their self-worth. Replace accusations with encouragement to improve. When you replace criticism with understanding, you build trust. When you help your child find solutions, you show them that mistakes are not the end. They're the beginning of growth. Choose words that strengthen, not break, the spirit. Third, you're too sensitive. These words invalidate a child's emotions. They come across as a refusal to acknowledge their feelings, more like a dismissal than an attempt to understand. When you say this, the child hears. Your feelings don't matter. Your experiences are insignificant. The Stoics taught us to manage emotions, not to ignore them. Seneca believed that acknowledging our feelings is the first step toward wisdom. When you reject a child's emotions, they learn to hide them. But hidden emotions don't vanish. They accumulate. For example, a child is upset after an argument with a friend and hears, "Oh, come on, it's no big deal." Or they cry because something didn't work out, and you say, "Don't be so sensitive." These words don't comfort. They alienate. What does Stoicism teach us? Emotions are natural and should not be suppressed. Epictetus reminded us, do not cling to anger, but allow yourself to feel it. The goal is not to avoid emotions, but to understand them. Instead of dismissing a child's feelings, say, "I can see you're upset. Tell me what happened." If the child is crying, don't brush their tears aside. Say, "It's okay to feel this way. How can I help?" Remember, a child learns how to handle emotions by watching you. If you dismiss their feelings, they will likely learn to ignore their own. If you model understanding, they will grow stronger. Acknowledging emotions doesn't make a child weak. It equips them with the tools to understand themselves. The Stoics taught that calmness is not achieved by suppressing emotions, but by mastering them. Your words can become the guiding light that helps your child find that inner peace. Fourth, because I said so. These words don't explain. They demand submission. They don't foster respect. They breed resentment. When a child hears this, they don't perceive confidence. They hear a refusal to engage in dialogue. The Stoics taught us that the strength of an argument outweighs the force of a command. Epictetus emphasized that reason is our most powerful tool. When you demand obedience without explanation, you deny the child an opportunity to understand why what you're saying matters. For example, a child asks why they need to turn off the computer, and you respond, "Because I said so." Or they want to know why they can't go outside, and you reply, "Don't ask questions." Such phrases don't teach responsibility. They teach fear of authority. What does Stoicism say? Marcus Aurelius reminded us, every action must have a reason. Children learn through examples and explanations. If you don't provide them, you rob them of the chance to develop reason and logic. Instead of demanding compliance, say, "Let me explain why this is important." For instance, if your child doesn't want to do their homework, don't simply insist. Explain. Learning helps you understand more about the world, and it's important for your future. If you're forbidding something, say, "I want you to stay safe, and that's why this isn't allowed right now." When you explain your actions, you show respect. This builds trust and teaches your child to think critically rather than obey blindly. The words, "because I said so," weaken the connection. Explanations strengthen it. The Stoics taught us to build relationships on mutual respect and reason. Choose the path that gives your child understanding, not fear. Fifth, you've disappointed me. These words sound like an accusation, placing a burden on the child they were never meant to carry. They don't critique an action. They suggest a deeper inadequacy. To the child, it feels like hearing, "You're not good enough." The Stoics taught that disappointment stems from our expectations, not from others' actions. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "If you are distressed, ask yourself, were you expecting something that was unreasonable?" When you tell a child they've disappointed you, you are shifting the weight of your unmet expectations onto their shoulders. For example, a child gets a poor grade, and you say, "I expected more from you. You've disappointed me." Or they lose a competition, and you declare, "You could have done better. You let me down." These words don't help a child grow. They only plant seeds of guilt and shame. What does Stoicism teach us? Don't expect from others what is beyond their control. See them as they truly are. Epictetus said, "Others' actions are not yours. All you control is your response." When a child makes a mistake, your role is to guide them forward, not to anchor them to the past. Instead of saying, "You've disappointed me," try, "I know you're capable of more. Let's figure out how to improve." If they lose a competition, offer encouragement. "I saw how hard you worked. You gave it your all. Let's think about what we can do differently next time." Your expectations should not be a burden to your child. They should be a source of support. The Stoics believed growth begins with acknowledging what is, not imposing what should be. Remember, your words shape your child's inner world. Disappointment diminishes. Encouragement inspires. Choose words that lift their spirit rather than breaking their confidence. Sixth, stop crying. It's not a big deal. These words don't bring comfort. They diminish. To a child, they sound like, "Your feelings don't matter. Your pain is insignificant." This doesn't teach them how to handle their emotions. It teaches them to suppress them. The Stoics understood that while pain is subjective, it is very real to the person experiencing it. Seneca said, "It is not the magnitude of suffering that matters, but how it is perceived." When you tell a child their emotions are unimportant, you don't ease their burden. You leave them alone to carry it. For instance, if a child cries because they lost a game, and you respond with, "Stop it, it's nothing." Or if they're upset about a conflict with a friend and you say, "Forget it, it's just a small thing." These responses don't solve the problem. They erode trust. What does Stoicism teach? Acknowledge what someone feels. Epictetus advised, "Do not judge others' emotions. Instead, understand their cause." Your child learns to express their emotions through your guidance. If you devalue their feelings, they'll learn to hide them. Instead of saying, "It's not important," try, "I can see this has upset you. Tell me what happened." Instead of saying, "Stop crying," say, "Your tears show that this is hard for you. How can I help?" These words teach your child that their emotions are valid. Show them how to navigate tough situations. If they're upset about losing, help them see it as a learning experience rather than the end of the road. If they're hurt by a conflict, discuss ways to resolve it. The Stoics believed that true calm comes from understanding emotions, not suppressing them. Your words should be a foundation that helps your child develop this understanding. Acknowledge their feelings, and they will learn to embrace them with strength and wisdom. Seventh, you never listen. These words sound like reproach. They take a single instance and inflate it into a flaw of character. To a child, they feel like, "You're impossible to communicate with. You're not good enough." Instead of fostering connection, such words create distance. The Stoics taught us to judge actions, not the person. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Mistakes in behavior do not make someone bad." When you accuse a child of never listening, you build a wall rather than a bridge. For instance, if a child gets distracted and doesn't follow through on your request and you say, "You never listen," or they miss an important instruction and you exclaim, "You always ignore everything," these words don't solve the issue. They only deepen feelings of guilt and misunderstanding. What does Stoicism say? Epictetus advised, "Understand the cause of the mistake before you judge." Perhaps the child didn't listen because they didn't grasp the importance of what was being asked. Maybe they were distracted because they find it hard to focus. Instead of blaming, seek to understand. Say, "Let's talk about why you didn't follow through. What distracted you?" Instead of, "You never listen," try, "How can we make sure you understand me better next time?" These phrases open dialogue rather than shutting it down. Your words should model how to build mutual understanding. When a child feels heard, they are more likely to learn to listen to you. The Stoics emphasized respecting the nature of others. A child is not meant to be perfect. They are learning. Your role is to guide, not push away. Choose words that build trust instead of breaking it. Replace accusations with understanding. This is the path to a deeper, more meaningful connection. 8th, "I told you you'd fail." These words act like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They don't help a child grow, they merely reinforce the fear of failure. To the child, they sound like, "You're incapable of success. Why even try?" The Stoics taught us not to predict the future, but to act in the present. Seneca said, "It is not success that defines virtue, but the effort applied to the task." When you tell a child they won't succeed, you rob them of the chance to prove themselves. For example, if a child tries to learn how to ride a bike, falls, and you say, "I told you you couldn't do it." Or they tackle a difficult task and struggle, and you declare, "I knew you wouldn't make it." These words don't help them get back up. They make them want to stop trying altogether. What does Stoicism teach? Epictetus advised, "Do not judge the outcome, but value the effort." Mistakes are part of the journey. They don't signify inability. They're stepping stones to success. Your role is to encourage their attempts, not strip away their courage. Instead of saying, "I told you you'd fail," say, "That was a tough step, and I'm proud of you for trying. Let's figure out how to do it better next time." If a child falls, say, "Falling is part of learning. I believe you can do it if you try again." The Stoics believed inner strength is built by overcoming challenges. Your words should inspire a child to rise after falling, not fear the fall itself. When you support their efforts, you help them believe in their own capabilities. When you offer solutions instead of criticism, you teach them that every failure is an opportunity to grow. Let your words be the foundation that guides your child to see not fear, but the path forward. Words are a tool that can wound or heal. The Stoics urged mindfulness in everything we do, especially in how we interact with those around us. Remember, your calm, wisdom, and love can become the anchor that helps your child grow stronger. Share this video with those who might find it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to continue exploring the lessons of Stoicism with us.